Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing a deck tech for my Atla deck. The whole point of this deck, there's no combo really to it. It's just kind of make eggs, kill them, and then rip out big stinky boys and play them. So it's just kind of Naizu. That's what I'm going for. These are my basics. I didn't count them, but there's that many. They're not all like this. That's my only special one. I just wanted to show it off. Anyway, having lands first and then the rest in no particular order. Boros Garrison, bounce lands are fine. This isn't a hyper competitive deck or anything, or even competitive in the slightest. This is just kind of a goofy deck when I like to whip out big boys for free. Cinderglade, it has a mountain and forest, so you can get your, you can fetch it. Temple of the False God, you play it turn 5, you get 6 mana. Other than that, it's just like ramp. No big deal. Myriad Landscape, enters tapped. Taps for a colorless, pay 2 mana, sack it, get 2 basics, are the same type. Seems pretty good. Crossing Verge, basically the same thing as Myriad Landscape, except it can hit your Forests and Plains cards, not basic, so it can get your Shocks and, other cards like Crossing Verge. I think Canopy Vista, but I don't run it. Exotic Orchard, just because it's one of those lands that probably taps for anything. Sungrass Prairie, because it came with the precon, and, it's a signet, that's a land. Command Tower, because I'm playing EDH. Temple Garden, it's a shock land. Kessig Wolfrun, because it gives my boys trample and a +X +0, which is kind of relevant, but it's more important that it's trample. High Market, because I can tap and sack and egg at instant speed and whip out a boy. Ash Barrens for some mana fixing. Some Petal Grove, because the check lands are good. I kind of like to run in my decks, I like especially for 3 colors, I like having all the check lands, all the shock lands, and all the scry lands. Aside from that, pretty much everything else could be a basic aside from the commander staples, and you gotta find mana base. Evolving Wilds, this deck is pretty budget, believe it or not. There are a few cards that are expensive, but believe me, any of the expensive cards I did not pay any money for. I just traded for them. So, Evolving Wilds, it is a quick little meme, gets you a little land. Stomping Grounds, just another shock land. Temple of Abandon, it's a scry land. Kazandu Refuge, it's a gain land. Not really thrilled about these, but I figure it's better than a basic. So, might as well leave it in until I find an upgrade. Temple of Pennies, just another scry land. Spire Garden, because they're pretty much OG duels without types in Commander. They're just duels that enter untapped with no restrictions in EDH. Unless your opponent's, scoop in response to you playing it, then, it enters tapped, and I guess they got you. Jungle Shrine, because it taps for one of each color. Not Panorama, just because it's a little baby fetch. And it doesn't hit any of the fetches, any of the shocks. But, if not, thins the deck. Not super relevant, but still not bad. Another check land, another scry land, another bounce land. All right. Creature times. And not really just creatures, just the main meat of the deck. So we got Mulgraft Monstrosity. I think this card's good in theory. It's a 7-mana 8/8 with trample, which is already a pretty fine rate. And when it dies, you exile it and then get 2 creatures from your grave back to the field. So, in theory, right? I get other big creatures in the grave, I just return them, and this guy goes away. So it's kind of grave recursion in Naya, which there is some, but not too much. Either way, I'm not super crazy about this card. It's probably going to be cut, relatively soon. But for now, I think it's fine in theory. I've had some times it really worked, and sometimes it just really hasn't. Anointed Procession, because, again, the whole deck is about making egg tokens and then killing them. So that's the whole goal of it, and this doubles up eggs. Cultivate, because this and Kodama's Reach are ideal ramp. Xenagos, he's an indestructible guy. You get him off eggs that die, and he doubles up your big chunky boys and gives them haste, which is, looking through the list later, you'll be like, yeah, I'd probably want to hit that with Xenagos. Harmonize, draw 3, just draw 3. V2Gazi Guild Mage. 2 mana for a 2/2, that's fine. The main importance is the populate, so 4 mana to basically make another egg. It's not great, Like, well, I mean, it's pretty good. It's repeatable, but it's 4 mana, so it's steep. Vorinclex, as you can tell, this isn't a real one. I got this proxied by some dude actually on Instagram. Again, I get a lot of cards from like people on Instagram and stuff, but yeah, honestly, I don't remember who did it. If that DB is any indication, I know he does other stained glass arts. I know that's what he primarily does, but yeah. Other than that, Vorinclex, pretty good. You know, he's Vorinclex. Song of the Dryads, because it's unconditional removal and it's a forest, so I mean, it's unconditional removal. That's almost permanent. Staff and In to draw more cards and also to kill eggs if need be, or just kill like opponents' opponents' small creatures. And 6 mana is kind of steep, but it's I'm playing Naya, so the ramp is there. Godsire, he's an 8/8 with Vigilance that just makes another 8/8. So, and for 8 mana, an 8/8 with Vigilance for 8, that makes more 8/8s. So again, like, these are the kind of creatures I want to hit with, like, Atla. Xenagos, God of Rebels. Like most Planeswalkers, you ult him, you probably just win the game, so we don't really look at that. But he's very, very good for getting additional mana and also making, like, 2/2s for jump blocking. But mainly, I use him to make a lot of mana because, it's Naya Zoo, so I usually have a lot of creatures on the field. Cryptolith, so the creatures I do have, like if I make Saproling tokens, egg tokens, I can tap them for mana to help expedite the game. Wilderness Wreck, I usually make eggs at instant speed and do a lot of abilities at instant speed, so this kind of helps that out. Apex Altasaur, because it's a 9 mana, it's virtually a one-sided board wipe in EDH. I mean, like, or at least if he's not like a one-sided board wipe, if he doesn't kill like all your opponents like small creatures, like you can just wipe any big threats and be like, he's just not going to fight anymore because the Enrage is a May ability. Growing Rights, because it digs a little deep, and then it's also Gaia's Cradle, and it's Gaia's Cradle, so. Tristani is a really good way to gain life, and it's also really good there because it populates. So, like, again, with Atla, normally you can just make 1 egg per turn, but with all the end-step shenanigans, you can start populating and stuff. Thornbite Staff, because it is a little bit of a combo. Atla is indeed a shaman, so it does work with it. And then whenever a creature dies, whenever another creature dies, you untap it. So if you have any sack outlet, which I do, you'll eventually see Ashnod's Altar and Phyrexian Altar. Ashnod's Altar in this goes infinite. You play the entire deck because you pay 2 mana, a creature, or you make an egg, sacrifice the egg to Ashnod's Altar, get 2 mana, a creature died, this untaps, and then you whip a creature from your deck for free. So that's that. Farseek, just good ramp. You really can't have too much ramp. Skullclamp, like, again, this is another one of those things where it's like a guy on Instagram, I don't remember. Actually, this is, my friend gave this to me. His name is on Instagram, Sinister Magic, @Sinister Magic. And I think his profile picture is Elsha the Infinite, something like that. He actually gave me this card in a trade, and it's a pretty cool little altar. Selesnya Eulogist is a 3/3 for 3 that pays 3 mana to have a little bit of graveyard hate and populate. So again, it's just kind of like populating on a stick is a little bit of a sub-theme I have going on this deck to make more eggs. Selvala Stampede, because it's really, really good. And if you're playing any green deck, you should be playing Selvala Stampede. Because think of it like this. You're in a 4-person pod, right? And especially in this deck, so starting with you, each player casts a vote for wild or free. Reveal the cards from the top of the deck until you reveal a creature card for each wild vote, which is literally what my commander does anyways. Then put that card on the battlefield, or just play a permanent from your hand for free. So unless you're actually empty-handed, this card's really, really good. And the likelihood of you just getting empty-handed is already really low. Continuing. Impervious Greatworm. He's just kind of in here. I don't think he's too great. I mean, he's like good to have for free, but he's just like an indestructible 16/16. And that's like one of the reasons Kessig Wolfrun's really good in this deck. Is for the creatures that don't have trample, it gives them trample. So plus, indestructible 16/16. Whoa. Perilous Forays, pay mana, sack a creature, and then ramp. And so it's basically another sack outlet for my commander, which is really good because it's pay a mana, get a basic tapped, and then also get a big creature from the deck. Seems good to me. Phyrexian Rebirth, it just came with the precon. I think the new's fine. And again, like, I run a lot of creatures and a lot of populate effects. So making an XX token is pretty good when I can make more copies of them. Pier's Whim, usually because you're your only friend and everyone else is a foe. So you get any land card, not like basic, just any land card you want, put it on the field tapped, and then each opponent loses an artifact or enchantment. Plus, it's a pretty good politics card. You're like, hey, next turn, don't attack me, and you can get a land. Explore, it's ramp, it's card draw. It's, 2 mana, seems good. Growing Ranks, little tech with this is beginning your upkeep populate. Little tech is you go to your untap and then upkeep, and then before this effect resolves, you pay 2 mana, make an egg, and then you get another one because you populate that egg. World Spine Worm, he's a 11 mana, 15/15 with trample that then dies to make 5 3/3s with trample that then gets shuffled back into the deck. So World Spine Worms are really, really good, especially when you essentially pay 2 mana and kill a creature to play a World Spine Worm. Plus you can populate the tokens he makes. Sundering Growth to destroy an artifact or enchantment and then populate. This card isn't the most optimal, but I mean, hey, get rid of an artifact or enchantment and then make another egg, which is kind of crucial for the deck. Because the deck can win without making eggs, but, no one's going to want to wait till turn 11 to start dealing damage. Goblin Bombardment says sacrifice an egg to ping something. Michaeloth, he's a swing and a miss, to be honest. So a lot of the creatures that you've probably seen in this deck, you're not like going to want to hit. Like any of the, you don't want to hit V2 Ghazi Guild Mage, or you don't want to hit see if I can find one. Like, you don't want to hit Eulogist from an egg. Michaeloth is one of the ones where you really don't want to hit off an egg. He's better if you can cast him, kill as many eggs as possible, and then make a ton of saplings later on. That's the goal with him, because, you attack with your big creatures, use saplings to block, and he also becomes a big creature. Plus, he's a sack outlet for the eggs when you have them. Worldly Tutor, so when I do kill an egg, I get to pick whatever I want in the deck to hit the field. Just tutors a creature to the top. Commander Sphere, because it's Commander Sphere, and I'm playing in Commander. Soul Ring, because I'm not stupid. Sakura Tribuilder, he just ramps. Like, he's a Sakura Tribuilder. He's like one of those cards where you just kind of run him. He's not bad to include. He's never bad to include, and if you take him away, he doesn't really impact the deck, but he's basically a 2 mana instant speed ramp effect when he's on the field. Ruth the Awakener, so Saplings I wouldn't call a sub-theme. Aside from like Michaeloth, there's only one other card that makes Saplings. But dealing combat to a player and then making a ton of 1/1s is really, really good. Plus, I really like this whole dragon cycle anyways. Ashnod's Altar, it's a sack outlet. You sack the eggs, you ramp. That's kind of it. Idol of Oblivion just lets you draw an extra card every turn, and I have never sacrificed it to make a 10/10. Just doesn't seem worth it. I'd rather draw an extra card every turn, because most likely I'm making a token every turn. Beast Within, good removal. That's all I'm going to say about it. Chaos Warp, good removal. And also, it sounds kind of whack, but I kind of like to do it on myself in like a pinch, where if I'm like, let's say I have like a creature or a permanent that's not like doing me anything, or even just a land, you're just like, oh, Chaos Warp it back, and then I'll reveal the top card of my deck and I'll get it. So yeah, if I just did it to my own deck, I would have gotten this Galta Primal Hunger. So that works for me. Galta Primal Hunger is basically a 2 mana 12/12. In most cases, if not, he is a free 12/12 with Atla when you kill a creature. This guy is one of the cards you do want to buff up with Xenagos, because a 24/24 trample haste is a very good Magic card. Explosive Vegetation. I don't run any Guild Gates, so I don't really see a point in running Circuitous Route. And I believe that Ikoria just came out like a couple days ago. I have yet to buy any packs, but this card's going away to Migratory Path just because it's Explosive Vegetation that also has Cycling. Whoa. Well, Kodama's Reach. Same reasoning for Cultivate. It's good ramp. Lightning Greaves. You kind of want to have Lightning Greaves in almost any commander deck where your commander is important. Like, the deck doesn't need Atla to function, but the deck is a lot better when Atla's on the field. And plus, if you need to give a creature you just got off Atla, or, you know, a creature you played from your deck, some haste, then that's a good one. Sylvan Wreck. I'm not crazy about it. So it has its merits and it has its faults. Its faults is that it's 5 mana to exile 2 artifacts, up to 2 artifacts and enchantments. So best case scenario is get rid of 2 things. Worst case scenario, you basic land cycle. Either way, I think it's fine removal. It either redraws itself or you get rid of some things. Mirari's Wake, because it's a Lord and it gives you double mana. And if you don't like the sound of a Lord and double mana, then quit Magic. It's not for you. Girid, 5 mana for a 2/5 and a 4/4, and then when he attacks, populate. So he's the face card. I chose Atla over him just because I figured more people would be playing Girid. And I knew Girid was a little bit better than Atla. And then people started breaking Atla with combos, but that wasn't my intention. Girid is more heavily populate relevant, where you attack and you just double up rhinos, or you play that nuke, Phyrexian Rebirth, and you make a 15/15 creature, and then you start populating it. Phyrexian Altar to sack creatures to get colored mana. Rampaging Ballots. It just kind of came with the precon, and it's a 6/6 for 6 with trample, and whenever you just play a land, you get a 4/4. So that you can also populate those 4/4s later on. I like the card. The thing is, I know if I want to make this deck optimal, he's probably not going to stay in. But I can't think of any cards right now that I would cut him for, if that makes sense. He's just an incredibly solid card. Skyshroud Claim is just more ramp. It starts up for forest cards, not basics. So just you can get your shocks or whatever you want with forest cards. Usually I get, if I don't have the shocks on the field, I'll just grab them. Or, and they also enter untapped. So you can kind of look at it as if it was a 2-mana ramp spell in a way. Defense of the Heart, I just added recently. And got from the Mystery Booster set. I don't like to hide that there's a set. I know a lot of people do try and hide it. They'll show off cards like this because, now it just looks like a regular Defense of the Heart. It's I don't like that. Just show it set it's from. If anything, it's just, it makes yourself look kind of goofy for trying to hide it. And also, sorry, I'm going to go on a mini rant. Everyone knows what you're doing. Not many people hold cards like this. Usually if I want to show off a card, how I'm doing with my hand right here, I just kind of have it resting on my pinky. But no one's trying to hold it like this unless you want to hide it. And I don't know about you, maybe I'm overthinking this, but it always seems that people do that to the Mystery Booster cards. Anyway, rant over. Defense of the Heart. You get 2 creatures in your deck and just put them into play, just for your opponents having 3 or more creatures, which is already incredibly likely. So, yeah, 4 mana for any 2 creatures just on the field seems good to me. Obelisk and Naya, you just saw. I'm playing Naya. It's a ramp, Atali the Primal Storm is one of my favorite Magic cards of all time. I like controlled chaos effects, or for my Sonic fans out there, chaos controlled effects. So 6 mana, 6/6, fine rate, doesn't matter. Whenever it attacks, exile the top card of each player's deck, and then just cast any non-lands. I like this card a lot, just because you can't really abuse it, because it's on attacks and it's not combat damage, so double strike doesn't really work. And Sometimes you could get something really good. Sometimes you just get a land. Most times you're like, oh, I'll just take your signet, and you know, I'll take it like I'll take like an opponent's signet and an opponent's land just to exile it, and then maybe you get a big creature from this deck. But either way, I'm a big fan of like the controlled chaos effects like Atla. Wrath of God. It's Wrath of God. Song of the World Soul in theory is really, really good, but 6 mana is a lot, especially if you want to start casting spells that turn after. Like, even I'm playing like Naya Colors, which is good ramp. And yeah, most times I play this card, I don't have many chances to cast spells after it. Tendershoot Triad was that other Saproling card I was talking about. It's just really, really good in Commander, I think, where a free 1/1 on everyone's turn is really good. And so like at worst it's a blocker, and most likely in EDH you're gonna ascend. Like it's very rarely are you not ascended in EDH. Just like next time you guys are playing a game of EDH, just on like turn 6 or so, or even turn 5, just think, have I ascended? The answer is yes, or you're close to it. Hull Breach, destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment, or just do both. You usually just do both. Rampant Growth, so you can rampantly grow. Doubling Season, so you can double your seasons. No, not really. If you get Xenagos in this, it works out. I think Xenagos is the only Planeswalker in the deck. It's really just here to double up your egg tokens and like, you know, just miscellaneous other tokens you do make. Counters aren't really relevant. Not many counters that I can think of aside from Xenagos and Xenagos the Planeswalker Xenagos and Michaeloth. Aside from that, I can't really think of any counters in this deck. Hellkite Tyrant, he's a big chunky boy and he's kind of a meme, and you just kind of steal your opponent's soul rings and stuff. Like, it just kind of says, hey, he's a 6/5 flying trample for 6, which is already pretty good, and then you just steal all of their artifacts to make your board better, and then you're most likely not going to win the game, but it's an option with them. Doomed Artisan is not that great, but I think he's fantastic. And I know that doesn't make sense, but I don't care. So, like, he's a 3-mana 1/1, but then on the end of your turn, you get a 1/1 that can't block or do anything like that. So then, I really like the design of this card, I think, and that's why I'd never want to cut him. Like, I don't want to populate sculpture tokens, but, like, this guy's kind of sick. Gazella, so you do double damage and your opponents do half. Clifftop Retreat, because I guess I missed it earlier in the video before I recorded this, I took out all the basics and all the non-basics just because I figured they're not that exciting, and I guess I missed it. Parallel Lives, same reason as Doubling Season and Anointed Procession. Well, it's actually just green Anointed Procession, so yeah. Crossing Grip in a promo version. Crossing Grip's good. Just split-second cards are generally fantastic. And it's one of the few ways to just get rid of Sensei's Top. But anyway, finishing up, thank you guys for watching my Atla Palani Nest Tender deck tech video. If you guys have a deck like this, or you have one in like your friend group meta, let me know what you think of mine and how it compares to them, and if I should cut any cards or if I should add any cards. Aside from that, like and comment and subscribe to my channel if you guys like the kind of videos I do. I just have fun making them. So anyway, that's all for this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.